Hey there, Mike Dunn, Editor-in-Chief of Tabletop, and I've got something very special to tell you about. It's a new crowdfunding campaign from Gooey Cube. It's called The Tomb of Gyzengax. It's a tribute to Gary Gygax and many of the legends that created the wonderful game that we all love to play. The link is right down here. Go hit it up, back it. You can't go wrong.
Hey there, and welcome to another episode of Tabletop Throwdown. Today we've got a special treat. We're part of an ongoing series that we're doing on independent TTRPGs, and to help me with that, I've got one of our senior tabletop editors, John Farrell. He's been working this beat for a few years now, and I'm really thankful that he's able to join us for this episode. And we've got Niels and Costa from Free League Publishing. They're going to talk to us about a new Kickstarter for a game, a new version of a game that has already been out for a few years, and that is Coriolis, the Third Horizon. So, Niels, Niels, Costa, let's just get started. Give us the pitch. Give us the pitch of what you guys are doing, and what you guys are doing differently this time.
Sure. Yeah. So Coriolis, the Great Dark is the name of the game we're gonna kickstart, and it's the game we're developing. It is it's a new game in the Coriolis universe, so it's kind of a second edition. But it's a completely different game than the old game, the Coriolis, the Third Horizon. And this game we kind of describe as the elevator pitch is the Terror meets Deadwood in space. So we're kind of going for this 19th century polar exploration vibe, where space is vast and dangerous, and travel is difficult. You go to expeditions to discover old ruins, and you have to struggle with the elements and everything to get where you're going. It's a lot more. It's a more harsh environment.
Yeah, it's a frontier
setting, and it's as I said, very much inspired by 19th century polar exploration, deep sea diving, archaeology, and lots of this Age of Sail vibe of space being as the sea was back then. I mean, it's wild and unpredictable. So, do you want to add something?
No, that's the thing. And it's set in a frontier system with few resources, pretty gritty, and you have to go on expeditions to find resources for your colony, and also to solve mysteries relating to why you're stuck in this system and how to get to other systems.
Yeah. So basically, the start of the game is you play as the heirs to a diaspora fleet that escaped the lost universe, the lost system, which is called the Third Horizon. And this game takes place 200 years later, and this new small civilization is kind of stuck in this place. It's called the Lost Horizons because there are portals, but they're dead, and they're closed and dead. And that's one of the big mysteries of this setting, is discovering what has happened here. Something has gone wrong here. The portals are dead. It's lots of old ruins, but something seemingly happened where this old civilization that used to be here disappeared like overnight. So it's a game about mysteries and about exploration.
Yeah. So I guess, would you consider this to be a sequel to the first game, or just a whole new kind of chapter in this universe?
It's a whole new chapter in a way, because it explores different stories and meta plots that were in the first game but weren't answered. And it is a second edition in the way that we've changed the rules to a new more modern version of the Year Zero engine that fits these themes with exploration and expeditions.
Yeah, I mean, chronologically, it is a sequel. This takes place around 200 years after the old game. So it is a sequel, but it's in another place. It's the same universe, different place, different set of circumstances. But it's very much connected.
And so it sounds like this will be have sort of a different focus. So the rules change will come in the survival and this colony building aspect. That'll be a new section of the game.
Yeah. I mean, there as the game starts, you're part of a small civilization. There's kind of a city. It's called a ship city, where you kind of there people live, and it's kind of a big colony. But as you explore the game, you can open up potentially new avenues and find new systems and worlds and so on. So it's kind of a game of finding this. It's a very small civilization trying to get humanity to thrive in this harsh place.
And this colony is only the only big part, big civilization. There are small mining settlements and stuff in the system, but nothing else.
Yeah.
So something that was a big focus of the first Coriolis, which I liked a lot, was the different machinations of political factions. Will those be completely divorced from this, or will they be more of a disparate? We're 200 years removed, so they have different influence now.
It's a big part.
Yeah.
It's a big part of it. I mean, I would say the game is kind of one half of it is exploration, and one half is kind of political intrigue and stuff like that. So in the old game, you had these different factions, and as time has passed, it's been like 200 years. They've traveled a huge distance. These factions are kind of evolved into different groups, which are called the new names. But they function similarly to the old ones, and they're full of mistrust and different plans and different agendas, which already all the time collides with the player characters.
So people from the old game will recognize this, and we will build on this intrigue between different guilds now instead of factions.
Yeah. I mean, a different, I would say, the old game had this huge space station, Coriolis, and then there was this vast systems around it. See, the most of the political intrigue was focused on the space station. In this game, the setting is kind of smaller, but it's outward focused. So you go out and you discover stuff. But when you go on these expeditions, you go on great ships, as they're called, huge vessels. And what we think is pretty neat is that this kind of the intrigue follows you onto these vessels. So you have these different persons from these different factions that will accompany you on the expeditions and will, try to outmaneuver each other and get stuck in the middle as you adventure out in space. So it's kind of the intrigue follows you on the adventure.
And this is kind of a new setting, a new part of an existing setting. Are you thinking of any changes to the aesthetics or the mythological influences? Because I know that Islamic Golden Age and Arabian Nights are one of the things that influenced Coriolis as it existed.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's different, but it's still evolved from the old setting. So we tried to kind of vision how would this setting look if it, a couple of centuries ago, and they moved to another place and they endure these hardships. What would that do with their belief systems? What would that do with their culture? Mm. So it's based on the old, but stuff has happened.
200 years has gone and things change.
Yeah. And also that the look is kind of a bit different because the technology has kind of gone backwards as they're now a frontier society and they don't have the resources or tools for all the high technology they used to have. So it's the setting is more about scarcity and trying to get stuff working and preserve the old high technology that they have. So there's a different vibe, a different look as well through some.
Yeah, but it's the same artist as in the first game. Martin Reed.
Excellent.
Yeah,
excellent. So I want to we'll dig into the mechanics here in a bit, but I'm really curious. Like as far as the setting goes. What do you think is the biggest thing that you've brought in and changed from the original iteration of the setting for this version of the game, other than maybe the 200 years later aspect?
I think it's the part with expeditions and the great ships and going in and looking into ruins. We had that in the old game, but it was not big part of the story, and now we moved into that and we want to solve a lot of the mysteries that we didn't touch in the old game relating to the portals, as Niels told you.
And I mean specific to the setting, it's a much more the setting in this game is meant to be explored in gameplay. So it's a big part of actually going out and discovering things, and that's how we write the first campaign as well. The old game was much more, you were in a culture that existed, and you had these points of interest, planets and cultures, and you could kind of zip around and do whatever you wanted. It was a more maybe broad setting. This is a more focused setting, and it's a more, I think, player oriented and mystery oriented. So you kind of get to the cool stuff in play. We wanted to get away from having cool stuff on the pages for the GM at the back end for a campaign and move it forefront in gameplay with this setting. So it's loads of different small changes. Another big change actually is that in the old game you had this kind of Firefly vibe to, you had the spaceship and you zipped around with your different systems. This new game is not Firefly in that sense. It's much more 19th century Age of Sail.
Yeah. So the thing about long expeditions is you have to go on the great ships with a lot of other people. They have to be funded from all the factions in Ship City to be able to travel to a new system.
Yeah.
So you have to follow other people.
That's
So
interesting because
we're inspired by history in this game, as we was in the first game, but in a different way.
Yeah, and that brings in an interesting new dynamic, because in that Age of Sail, you would have to do so much work beforehand just to be able to leave, to get the funding, provision the ships, get the political allowances to make the expedition, get people together, and there's a lot of interesting potential for gameplay through that.
Yeah,
I like that comparison to the Terror, because the Terror was great. Like, that was such an awesome show, and it really kind of, like, that was like the first real glimpse that I personally had into the kind of political intrigue and dynamics that went into that, and then just the absolute mess that it became.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, the Terror would be an excellent RPG adventure or campaign. I mean, there's loads of RPG potential in it.
Now in the original Coriolis, I'm sure John can probably speak to this more than I can, but it does mention exploring the ancient ruins of the portal builders, right? And so there's this like kind of ancient long gone civilization that was there present, along with like the more modern political intrigue of the groups, the factions that were there. It feels like what you guys are doing is actually putting a little more emphasis on that, if I'm interpreting this correctly, because of the exploration aspect. Would that be a good assumption to make?
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, this game is about going to basically where this portal builder civilization came from, and discovering what happened to them.
Yeah. Why did they go? Why did they disappear?
What happened to them? And that's so we're delving down into one of the mysteries that was in the background of the first game, and making that one of the primary mysteries of this game. But the political intrigue and stuff is still there.
So yeah, like that kind of, I feel like that kind of evokes another like really good sci-fi world that has been explored recently. I'm sure you're familiar with it, The Expanse.
Yeah.
That kind of ancient civilization, kind of disrupting like current political situations and the current level of civilization. Big fan of that. Well, let's dip a little into the mechanics of the game. Now, you said like not just setting wise, but I imagine mechanics wise, that exploration has become a much bigger part of the game. Would you say that's probably the biggest change mechanics wise from the original Coriolis?
Well, that's part of it, but also the year zero system has evolved over time. So we're working with the latest iteration, which one of the big changes is that we have merged skills and talents into one group to make it a more accessible game. So it's not that many moving parts in that sense. But we also, since it's a game with scarcity now, gear is more important, repairing stuff is more important, which is a big difference from before. And we're also working with you delving into ruins. So you take different roles on the adventure when you go down into ruins. Also, you take on different assignments when you're on the great ships as part of the crew. You can't just sit in your cabin and wait for the months to pass by. So that's the big things we're working with.
Yeah, it's loads of small adjustments, and I would say the big difference is probably that the engine is more streamlined and more adapted to the focus of the game, whilst the old Coriolis was our second implementation of the Year Zero system, and kind of had a lot of stuff that wasn't maybe super aligned with each other. So we're kind of it's a more focused version of it, a more modern, streamlined. But we try to put some crunch in the areas where we feel that the game needs it. For example, exploration and delving down into ruins and stuff like that.
And for anybody watching, we're talking about Year Zero. Obviously, we're talking about Mutant Year Zero, which is another TTRPG that you guys have worked on, and you're utilizing the same system for this one. So just wanted to make sure we got that out there.
No, we use it for a lot of our games. I mean, most of our games. It's a D6 pool system.
Yeah. Excellent. So what, as far as players, like what kind of characters are and kind of motivations will players have in this game? I want to talk a little bit about players, and I want to talk a little bit about game masters. So let's start with players. Kind of give us a little bit of a background on how you approach players and how they will play the game.
I can go first. The default mode of the game is that you play as an explorer crew, as we call it. It's like a team. Which are employed by the Explorers Guild, which is a small organization that is a scrappy small organization that has low on funds, but are sent out to join their expeditions to do this ruin delving and find artifacts and treasures and stuff. But they're kind of always constantly underfunded. Yeah. So you can play other stuff as well. You can work for other guilds or organizations. That's the default. Yeah. So you're part of a delver or explorer group, and you can come from different backgrounds. You have people that you can be an artist from the beginning. You can be like a soldier type. You can be like a
worker, a scholar. So when you create your character, they all have backgrounds and previous occupations, and they left that and joined the Explorer Guild. And when you create your character, you decide, why did you leave? How did you become part of this crew in the Explorers Guild?
Yeah.
And that's the premise of the game, to be explorers for hire. And the other bigger factions use Explorers Guild to do the dangerous stuff.
Yeah, and you can go work for others or go freelance or whatever. But there's like the game itself has almost like a mini. It's a very streamlined version where you get some background of your character. You get some. You have some connections to the place where you grew up. You get a contact, and then how you join the crew. So you kind of have. Kind of not so many steps. It's not a crunching game, but you get we think a kind of fully fledged character, and you know why this character is doing this and what it has done before. So basically you're a sailor in space looking for artifacts and ruins.
Yeah. Okay. Will like players select specializations or classes or anything like that?
Not classes in the 5e sort of way.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
But when you go on a delve, you take a role when you delve down into the ruins that mostly are underground, and the role is based on what talents you have and what you're good at. So somebody would be the guard and somebody would be the scout. Yeah. You can change that from ruin to ruin, and if somebody goes down or gets broken, you have to fill that role. So it's what's the similarities in other games?
It's similar to the One Ring in a
Yeah.
way, but we skipped one step because you have the archetype, which is kind of the base of the character. The archetype is kind of you're an enforcer, and then the archetype has had a background occupation or a previous occupation and could have worked as something, and then you have what you're doing right now when you're delving. So you have the base, which is an archetype. You have a background, and you have your role as an explorer. So it's kind of, but the main thing is the archetype. I would say that's the closest thing to a class, probably.
Yeah.
All right. So I like that. It's like you have like the player has an idea of like who they are, but your role, like what you do and how you fit into the party, so to speak, can vary from mission to mission. So I like that because that way you're not pigeonholed. Like, maybe you're a scout on one mission and maybe you're like doing something else on another mission.
You can switch it around, which is the idea that you can try out different things.
Yeah,
obviously you will be best at something, and we'll probably want to do that. But
yeah. That allows for a little more flexibility, and gives players the opportunity to adjust their play style according to what seems to be working at the time. That's very, very cool. Now, are all the players basically human? Are there any other like aliens, for instance, that are part of these factions, or am I totally barking up the wrong tree?
No, it's a human centric setting as the old game as well. So you're playing as humans, but there is some strange stuff. One of the things they found in the setting is they found in this system these strange creatures they call birds, or the Geruda. And there's very strange birds that someone has left there in the ruins, and they're kind of integral. What do you say?
Integral to no.
Yeah, and they kind of team up with the civilization, so you kind of can use these birds for different purposes. They have these strange powers.
But you don't play, so the players will be humans. They might, we're building campaigns here, so they might discover stuff as you play. But you start as humans.
Yeah. So it's a grounded setting it's not space opera. It's not this kind of Star Wars feeling, but it's more down to earth and gritty in a way.
Yeah. One thing we didn't go into is that why is not everybody an explorer going down into ruins and finding artifacts and getting rich? Well, it's dangerous. That's because the Blight is down in the ruins. It's like a plague, both physical and mental, and it changes things. And that's the danger with going into ruins. So that's why the Explorer Guild exists, to do the dirty work for the bigger factions and go down and find stuff for them.
Now, is this Blight like lethal, or does it perhaps change people when they encounter it and give them strange abilities?
It is lethal, but you can also change people. So it's a lot of. It's almost corruptive. It is strange kind of disease emitting from the ruins, and no one knows. And it's stronger the closer you get to the heart of the ruins, the stronger the Blight is. So it's very dangerous, and it changes people. And one of the things that can happen in the game is that the explorers can subtly change over time the more they delve, because they're affected by this.
Not only negative effects.
Yeah, it can have some good effects too as well.
Yeah. And that will be explored as we build the setting in new campaigns more and more.
Excellent. That kind of also evokes like coal mining, right? Like, it's a job that affects you.
yeah.
Physically, not as well as mentally, right?
Yeah. And also, one of our big inspirations is deep sea divers. In the 60s and 70s, they were this line of work. It still is, but it was very dangerous back then, where deep sea, and earlier than that as well, where they went down. It was super dangerous, and they had these hard suits, and they went down and did this really, really strenuous labor. And the player characters in this game are kind of the same. They're kind of deep sea divers in space. So they're very specialized, and it's a dangerous environment, and they get changed by it as well.
Excellent. Now, what about character progression? Are there levels? Like how? Like obviously, 5th edition being the big one, that everybody knows. Like they're used to like leveling up and like getting new abilities. Of course, not every TTRPG kind of follows that model, but there is like this need for progression, right? Like playing, if I'm going to play this character for a long time, I want them to grow and learn new things and be able to do new things. Like, how are you guys handling that in Coriolis?
So we're handling it in 2 ways. You can increase your attributes, which you start with. You have 6 different attributes, but mainly it's that you get new talents. And talents could be, it's a thing between skills and
feats,
abilities and feats. So one could be that you have fast reflexes and can act first in combat. Another could be that you're good at reading glyphs or a good archaeologist. Yeah. But they are the same kind of thing, and you buy them with experience points over time.
That's only. I mean, that's the one part of it, and that's the character part of it. But a big focus in this game is on the group. You kind of you're playing this teammates, this crew, so you kind of band together. So a lot of experience and getting better has to do with the group's equipment, their vehicles, and where they live and so on. So as you progress, you can get a better shuttle to get around. You can get a better rover to travel on the surface, better equipment, better delving suits. So it's a lot about getting better gear and vehicles, as well as developing characters.
Yeah.
And also kind of you have these different standings in the factions in the game. So if you work a lot with one faction, they will like you more, and maybe other will like you less. So what you do will affect kind of the stories there as well.
And the final thing is that you not all explorers, but most have a bird as a companion to the crew, and that is a construct that you can actually give experience points to.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And you can discover new powers and get better and discover new stuff. Yeah. So there's loads of different stuff you can get better upon, advance in, but and the character is only one kind of thing there.
So it sounds like the game really kind of emphasizes teamwork and like the concept of the crew. That's super cool. I really like that. And so like it kind of evokes some like video games. Not that I can think of one off the top of my head, but the idea that like you're doing your own personal progression, but as a group, you're also progressing the group. Now, I feel like that might, I don't know, like logistics game, playing a TTRPG, meeting together as a group like that. It feels like that might cause some difficulty when you have like players drop out and new players drop in. But I imagine it wouldn't be that hard. Like someone new coming in, maybe like the rest of the crew hazes them or something like that. Right?
I mean, that's always tricky in any game where you have, just real life logistics of having same people turn up. But in this game, you can easily have a larger pool of the explorer crew, and you can have for a single mission, you can you send this time where we have 4 players. So this time these 4 explorers will be sent out to the mission. The other ones, they're still back at the base at Ship City. So you can have a larger kind of group as well, and just use different players at different times. So that, in that sense, this game actually works quite well in campaign play with kind of different player counts.
That makes sense, right? Like, because the players are actually part of a larger crew, right? Because it's a large ship.
Yeah.
So yeah, like you could just basically promote one of the NPC characters to a player. They've been there all along. They've been doing stuff as part of the crew. Okay, that's I like that. I like that a
Yeah,
lot.
and that's also. I mean, that's something in any game. I think where you have character death, and I mean, in this
Mhm.
game, the character can die. I think you want to avoid the problem when if a player has the bad luck to his character getting killed, you want that player to rejoin the game
Yeah.
as soon as possible. So there's different. We'll have different advice for how you can do that. One advice could be to take in a member of the larger crew and just kind of promote him to a PC.
Very cool. Yeah, I don't know if you're familiar with Matt Colville, but he worked on
Yeah.
a book for fifth edition that kind of introduced this mechanic where you could you're like part of a larger group and you could like if you don't like your character, well, then you have a backup character that can be promoted into your place. That's super cool. Awesome. So let's talk about Game Master for a minute. Like from a Game Master's perspective, obviously you guys are working on campaigns. But what kind of tools are you giving the Game Master in terms of kind of keeping the game going and keeping players engaged? It's a very broad question.
Yeah, it is. And we have a very broad answer. We have lots of different tools for that. It's. I mean, you have first we will have in the game we'll have a chapter about how you kind of structure an adventure, where you have kind of the phase where you kind of gear up and prepare the voyage, and then you're getting to where you're going, and then the actual exploration. So you have this kind of structure which you can easily then adjust and use for yourself. We're going to have loads of tables to use, and also kind of ready-made small modules that you can drop into.
And advice on what themes are important in the game and how to use them during the expedition, during the delve down into the ruins or in Ship City.
Yeah, so there's lots of small tools and guidelines. For instance, I mean, a big part of the game is actually delving down into ruins and exploring these old ruins and remnants. And that's kind of there's some rules attached to that. You have to keep track on supply, and you have to make sure you keep your group together and so on. But one major part for the GM in this game is make sure that the rules don't take over. So this shouldn't feel like a board game. The
Right.
mood and the atmosphere and everything, I mean, should always be the first. I mean, the gameplay is important. But it should feel like an exciting delve into the unknown. So there are lots of tips regarding that and how you do that. And also the rules are designed to kind of push that as well. So you get cool events and cool stuff happening by just playing the game. But I mean, it's a million small things. So it's not like we have one big answer for it.
Right. So like just to kind of like focus on one thing, obviously the setting and what you have, the way you have got it set up for crew, like just looking back on my viewing of the Terror, like it feels like there are like a lot of mundane tasks that a crew would have to engage in, and sometimes that can bring like a gameplay session, like too many mundane tasks can bring a gameplay session to a screeching halt. Like how do you guys combat that, like while still kind of retaining that immersion that doing those mundane tasks within the game would provide? Like it feels like that's a hard balance to strike.
So one part is that when you go on the great ship, you actually bring the intrigues from Ship City with you. So you might do scrub the hull for Blight during the day, but then in the evening in the cantina, there's a social conflict regarding who's gonna get the stake in this or that ruin. So we'll have to mix between that, and there might be a mystery during the travel a murder or something that affects the outcome when you reach the system.
Yeah, and you can kind of zoom in and out narratively as well. So you won't play a journey like, day to day, every day. So you won't focus on all the grueling, mundane tasks. You will do some kind of you will jump into some of that stuff and do that, and then you'll have some other stuff that will happen, events or intrigues or small adventures, and then you will kind of mix those together. And that, because as you said, the balance is tricky. You have to kind of make it exciting as well to play. So I think the Terror actually does it very well, because the TV series and the book, because it balances this kind of intrigue, this this human element with drama outside the ship and stuff affecting the crew and the officers and so on. And this is kind of a big influence on how we approach this gameplay element in the game as well. You have loads of different things that happen during a journey, and you can't focus on only one. You have to use them all, and that hopefully you get kind of the sweet spot then.
The thing that I think I'd be worried about as a game master is, all right, in one instance, like I could abstract away like a lot of the mundane stuff, like, the players say, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this, and then the GM could be like, all right, you managed to get all that done, and you just move on. But then, like, if you set it up to where like they actually have to go through the motions of things, then I'd be worried about almost tipping my hand that something's going to happen, which is why I'm making you do all these things. Like something's going to interrupt this and like make a dramatic, moment. And I feel like if you're not too careful, that can kind of take you out of the immersion factor of it, right?
Yeah. It is a tricky thing, and there will be a structure for this in the gameplay to facilitate this. And I think the closest thing maybe is in the game The One Ring, that we also publish, which has this set of rules for journeys across Middle-earth. So you go on a journey, and the journey is a big part of the gameplay, but you have, in the journey, stuff happens, and you kind of have this that slows up gameplay, and there's this cool scene. And it's kind of similar to this, how this works. But there will be a structure to kind of help the GM do this, because otherwise, as you say, it's very tricky it's not something you want to just do on the fly all the time, because then it's hard to know how much detail you should do on it.
Nice. So obviously the game is very suspense driven. Is there combat? Like, is that something that happens? I imagine it probably doesn't happen a whole heck of a lot, but I could be wrong.
We're thinking that there will be competing groups exploring ruins, so you might not be the only ones going for.
So there will, combat is a big part, but you're right. It's not a combat focused game. It's not about combat, but as Costa said, when you go down to a ruin or a place, often there is someone else there as well, and trying to get to the good stuff before you. So there's a lot of competitors. There's a lot of factions that want different stuff, and you're trying to get there first. And also there's loads of bad stuff where you go as well. And there's
non-human stuff.
I mean, all kinds of different
related to the Blight, to the ruins, to other stuff.
Yeah, so there's going to be creatures out there. There's going to be horrible stuff you meet, and you have to kind of not necessarily kill or in combat, but you have to kind of get around it.
Nice. And I guess some games combat is very, very center of the experience, and then it provides but then it kind of provides a reward, right? Like you get new items or you get experience points and that sort of thing. How do you guys close the loop on that, and actually make combat a thing that is not just something you want to avoid, right?
I think it's. I mean, it's.
I imagine you can capture things from like the other factions.
Yeah, I
right?
mean,
you
it's,
can get
it's,
equipment.
it's
and gear.
often that's something that's used narratively in an adventure, or for example, if you have a rival crew, they want to get something from you, and I mean, you can choose different ways. You can either kind of try to haggle with them or give them the artifact, or you have to meet them in combat, and in that way, the combat becomes something you need to do to fulfill your mission. But there's loads of different. I mean, we don't have like the focus of D&D is completely different in this game.
Right.
So I don't know. I'm not sure what else we could say about that.
So, I'm very much trying not to compare everything to D&D, but it's hard
but
to avoid that
it's the biggest
sometimes,
game.
right?
So it is, everyone compares it. I mean, everyone will.
Yeah. I imagine people watching this are going to make that comparison, and that's why I'm kind of trying to tease that out, right?
Yeah, sure.
So when you go down into ruins, you look for artifacts or the broken parts of artifacts, and that's what you bring back to Ship City and give your employees or their employees to secure money and other stuff to buy new equipment or get a better rover or better stuff for your shuttle and stuff like that.
Very cool.
Yeah, we should add as well that, I mean, exploration is a big part of the game, and going out into the unknown is a big part. But you can also play full adventures, even campaigns in the civilized setting, which is the Ship City, which is this bustling metropolis in an asteroid, which has this cold melting pot kind of cultural vibe to it, with lots of intrigue. So you can play, you can do stuff there. You can, pull off heists. You can go on like more regular adventures and stuff as well. Yeah. So it's not only going out on exploration and delving down into ruins, although that's a big part of it.
Yeah, I imagine you could also play a campaign where your party, your crew, they're bandits and they're like raiding other explorers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can go completely rogue in this game. You can go like turn to the dark side and just try to, snatch everything from everyone else. Yeah. So definitely, yeah.
Excellent. All right, well, let's wrap this up by talking a little bit about the Kickstarter that's launching this week. What I guess, like what kind of tiers, what kind of incentives can potential backers expect to see for this?
Well, we have we're kickstarting the core rulebook and a campaign box, and the campaign box will contain like the full first campaign for the game with lots of cool handouts, blueprints, maps, and stuff. So I would say like the main kind of we have different levels. You can back only the core book. You can back from the campaign box. I would say the sweet spot is getting the rule book and the campaign box. Yeah. And then we have other stuff as well. We have a early bird thing. It's a small thing, but you get an art print. What else?
Depending on how much, how big the Kickstarter gets, we'll add stuff to the campaign box.
Yeah.
So we have
excellent,
and to the rulebook as well, and both. We have a lot of stretch goals lined up, and we'll see how well it does. But hopefully, we'll be able to put in some really cool stuff there.
And I imagine you'll have digital and physical tiers available. Yeah.
Definitely.
Excellent.
And we're hoping to add some VTT support as well. So there's a lot of stuff we want to do, and the Kickstarter. I mean, Kickstarter is always kind of, we want to see what the interest is. So we'll see what the reception is and what people kind of ask for. If a lot of people want a specific thing, we might, consider adding it.
And one important thing with the Kickstarter is that we will publish a quick start for the game, so you can actually test the game and delve into. Yeah,
so it would be like a mini version of the full game that you can download straight away next Tuesday. Or when it goes
awesome. Are you all planning any actual plays during the campaign to kind of demonstrate the gameplay to folks?
Wow, we haven't really thought about that. Maybe we should.
That's an interesting idea.
We're actually gonna play tonight at the Free League office. We're gonna play the game, but that's gonna be not. It's not gonna be filmed.
No. Right.
We'll see. We might do that under the campaign. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think a lot of TTRPG Kickstarters, crowdfunding have been doing that lately. It seems
Yeah.
like it's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool way to kind of demonstrate, all different aspects of, what this is what a GM does, this is what a player does, this is how it works. So,
Yeah.
um, all right, one last question for potential backers that are already familiar with the previous version of Coriolis. I imagine the biggest question on their minds is there any compatibility between the two? Like, will they be able to use their previous books as at minimum, I would say, like lore, like the lore for fodder for adventures that are set 200 years later.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, in several ways, you can actually even use your old characters
Yeah,
from the old
Oh,
game.
wow.
we're figuring out a way to
Yeah,
do that.
but it's gonna be a big cultural difference for them because they're gonna have to kind of, time has
Right.
passed. But there's a way to do that, so you can actually play with your old characters if you like, and there's a lot of connections between the new setting and the old setting. We kind of like to think of the old setting as kind of the history layer, the recent history of this game. So a lot of the plot points we explore in this game has the basis in the old game. So
And one of the bigger factions in the new game are called the Coriolites, which is actually
Oh,
they kind
that
of
sounds cool.
a
Yeah.
sect. But so there's lots of stuff, and there's kind of
So like religious zealots kind of situation.
yeah, almost yeah, and they really they love
they're a mixture of everything from the Third Horizon in one, so to say.
and
Okay.
they love the Third Horizon. They want
Yeah.
they want to go back there.
Awesome.
So there's no, but there's going to be. I mean, the rules going to be different. There's going to hopefully we'll have some kind of conversion thing if you want to do it. But I would say is you can still play in the Third Horizon if you like that. In the Kickstarter and after the Kickstarter, we will the open license for the new game and the old game. So any fan can create and sell modules and adventure settings, whatever they want. So if you want to play in the old era, you can do that. If you want to play a new one, you can do that.
I think that's great. I love the support you guys give to the players in that regard. I think a lot of companies could learn from that, right? Well, all right, awesome. So this Kickstarter launches on the 20th.
The 19th.
Is that right? The 19th.
Yeah,
the 19th.
Yeah.
1 day off.
3 p.m. Central European time. I'm not sure what that is in different time zones.
It would be like
Well,
6
I'll
hours
work that out in
before-
post.
Yeah.
And this will be on Kickstarter.
It will be on Kickstarter, and we're very excited to show this and share this and see people, check out the quick start and give us feedback and so on.
Yeah. So the quick start will be a way for us to evolve the game too.
Yeah. I mean, the game is we've gone a long way. It's almost finished game, but we like to collect feedback from players and fans as well. So we will listen to what people say and see what we want to tweak and so on. So it's a game that is still in development.
And that's the way we
fantastic. Yeah, no, I think that's the best way to do it. Like, it always puzzles me when a Kickstarter has like a fully complete game, and it's just kind of transparent that they're just using Kickstarter to market it, right? Whereas I love
balance.
Yeah, I love Kickstarters that still allow you to participate in the design process. So I think that's very cool. Awesome. Well, we'll try. Hopefully, this podcast will actually air the day before the Kickstarter launches. So hopefully, we'll have a link, like a preview link, so that we can send people to get reminded that the Kickstarter is launching tomorrow, and to get in on some of those early bird rewards. So. Niels, Costa, thank you so much for joining us. I feel kind of bad. John just kind of dropped out
Yeah.
because apparently
Yeah, I feel bad for him as well.
the power in his building cut out. So hopefully we can have you guys back again, and we can get John to like really pick your brains, because he's a lot deeper into this stuff, into the free league stuff than I have. Unfortunately, I don't have time for. I love it. I own a lot of it. It's fantastic. We love you guys.
It's too many games. I have the same problem.
Yeah, right. I have so many RPGs that I wish I could play like all the time, and then there's life.
Definitely.
So yeah, thank you so much for joining us. And yeah, we'll be keeping an eye on that Kickstarter for sure.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
All right. John, you're back.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Good to be
Besides the
here.
obvious fact that we're probably recording this several days after the actual interview, John, you had to drop out. What happened on your end?
I did. I think at some point in this life or a past life, I offended the god Vulcan because the power went out as we were recording and I lost access to internet. But I have made the proper ablutions and apologies, and I'm sure that won't happen again. But I did review a lot of materials for what they were talking about with the Great Dark, and I am really excited to see where they go with it.
Yeah, so let's talk for a second about, like, I guess let's talk for a second about what excited you about Coriolis and the upcoming Kickstarter, just to kind of put a little bow on this. I just want your input, because you're much more knowledgeable about the setting and the previous iteration than I am, and also you're pretty much our go-to free league guy. So
It's ended up that
definitely,
way.
yeah. But yeah, like, I guess tell us a bit about like the setting and what you liked about the first iteration and what you're hoping to see in the new one.
Yeah, so the Coriolis as it was Free League's Year Zero engine applied to a sci-fi with sort of fantasy and horror elements. It was an interesting setting where there were essentially two groups of humans, one of whom left a lot earlier to get to this system, and they were on hibernation ships, so it took them longer than the second group who invented jump engines. So the first group leaves, second group invents
That's such a,
faster than light, gets to the system,
what a horrible,
arrives, settles
way
it,
to...
and then the first group comes, and there's a lot of conflict between the way their different societies work. The first group are very practical people. They've had to be to make it through this long journey, but the second has sort of become decadent and religious. So you have this exploration of space that's very political. It's got shades of Arabian Nights inspirations to its aesthetics and the types of things you can encounter. And this sequel game they've announced is in the same setting, but far away by distance and time. So I'm excited to see what kinds of things are lurking out in the dark, but also how they're going to go about the base building and exploration elements, which we've seen shades of in other games like Mutant Year Zero, and Vaesen had a little bit of that. Forbidden Lands is all about exploration. It's just going to be cool to have somewhere where they're examining not just exploration in the mechanical sense, you're going out and finding things, but some of these elements of the morality and practicality of exploring. You've got to get money. You've got to get people together. How do you go about doing those things, making your way in a new area of space?
Right. And yeah, I believe it's set. If I remember correctly, it's set 100 years in the future.
Yeah, and that's a long time to see how some of the seeds they've been setting in the first game are going to pay off, what some of these factions will be doing later on in the conflict.
Now, for viewers who aren't familiar with the Mutant Year Zero system, I don't have any familiarity with it myself. I guess maybe sum that up a little bit for us too.
Sure. So it's pretty simple to get into. You have attributes and skills. When you're making a roll, you will roll a number of six-sided dice equal to whatever the attribute skill combination would be. Any six that you roll is a success. If you want, you can push a roll, which will give you a wound. It's a little different each game what the penalty is, but you'll get a penalty, but you'll be able to re-roll all failed dice. So that's the basis of it. Combat's a little interesting in that if you get certain numbers of successes, you can trigger special effects on your weapons. As I recall, there's also a sanity system. There's some interesting elements to traveling faster than light and to having combat with spaceships. So all of the basics are there for lots of games, which is how they've been able to adapt it to so many different genres between Basin, which is, horror, investigative, or exploration, or science fiction. It's pretty simple and adaptable, and they make good changes to whatever new game they're working on to implement it.
Awesome. Well, great. Well, we'll definitely be keeping an eye on this Kickstarter. Definitely curious to see like what direction they take, like the materials. Free League's production quality has done nothing but get better in the time since the original came out. And I imagine there's lots of fun stuff they have in store for like stretch goals and whatnot. I don't know, like how often do they even do Kickstarters these days? Like I've most of the stuff that I've seen them come out with in the last like year or two has been just straight up direct to retail.
Yeah, they've been expanding. I know that some of the Kickstarters they've done were for some of their side projects. They're like the Dragonbane, which they were publishing, but I don't think they were developing. But they are getting to a point where they don't have to worry about that as much anymore. They're in a very, it seems to me, reliable position.
Yeah. So like just the fact that they're even kickstarting this, I find curious.
Yeah. I'm sure it's going to do well. I haven't checked it. Oh, it hasn't gone live, so that's why I haven't checked it.
It will go live the day after this airs. So we'll be sure to have the preview page link down below. And I think I'm really curious. I don't lack for TTRPGs these days, but I may have to add another one to the stack, so to speak, and pray I get it to the table.
It is impressive with how much ground they've already covered that they're still able to introduce something and have it sound interesting.
Right.
It's even though it's got elements of things they've already done before, it does sound like a new idea.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, and I mean, I wonder if part of it too is because that first version came out, 2017, 2016, something like that? It was a while back.
Yeah,
I think it was 2016.
2016.
Yeah. So that's like, I mean, that's 8 years ago. The whole sphere of the whole space of TTRPGs has dramatically changed in that time. I mean, even in just the last year. So I imagine, there's some calculus in terms of, let's get this into everybody's attention. Give attention to this, whereas maybe, it obviously the Kickstarter succeeded last time and they were able to make it. But maybe this is a good opportunity to really kind of push it out there into the current sphere and have it grab even more people.
Yeah, I mean, they're in a place where the more people see them, the more they actually like what they're working with, and that news is getting around. I don't have a way to gauge how much, but I know that in the spaces I'm paying attention to, people are starting to notice what Free League has been doing.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, awesome, John. Hopefully next time we have you on as a guest host. We won't have quite the technical difficulties, but, you know, we roll with the punches.
Yeah, I'm doing all I can to appease all the gods I can, and I'm sure that next time it will work out.
Excellent. All right, so that's it for this week's Tabletop Throwdown. Join us next week. We'll have more great stuff. We got a lot of great stuff planned, and actually should have some of that Gamma Expo coverage up either next week or the week after. So subscribe, like, you know, keep us in mind when you want to check out some interesting tabletop stuff.